The story of Jusica and the Orca dolphin. The first time Jusica saw the small, trembling creature, it was floating near the shore. A baby orca, no longer than her arm, black and white skin glistening under the sun. Its mother was nowhere in sight. Jusica was only 14, a fisherman's daughter who lived near the cold, gray waters of the northern coast. She knew orcas were powerful predators, but looking into the calf's large, wet eyes, she didn't see danger. She saw a plea for help. She named it Cairo. At first, her parents protested. Jusica, that's a wild creature, her father warned. But Jusica insisted. She carried buckets of fish to feed him, staying by the water for hours. She talked to Cairo as if he understood every word. And perhaps he did, because every time she approached, he would chirp and click, spinning playfully in the shallow water. Weeks turned into months. Cairo grew stronger, sleeker, more graceful. Jusica's bond with him became the talk of the small town. People would gather just to watch the girl and the orca twirl in synchronized movements in the bay. One day, a man in a fine coat came to watch. He introduced himself as Mr. Callan, the owner of a traveling marine circus. "That orca of yours," he said, "could make us both a fortune. Imagine the crowds, the applause. Jusica, you and Cairo could be stars." The idea lit something in Jusica's mind. Fame, adventure, escape from the sleepy coastal life. Her parents hesitated, but the promise of money was tempting. After days of arguments, they agreed. Jusica and Cairo would join the circus. The first few months on the road were dazzling. Jusica was given a sparkling wetsuit. Cairo was trained to leap through hoops, balance balls, and splash the front rows at just the right moment. Crowds cheered their bond, calling them the ocean's dancing duo. But behind the curtain, life was different. Cairo's tank was small, a fraction of the ocean he once knew. The water was stale, the walls echoing. Jusica fed him on schedule, but Mr. Callan insisted on cutting down food portions before performances to make him more energetic. Jusica protested, but her words were brushed aside. "A little hunger makes him jump higher," Callan said with a smirk. Sometimes at night, Jusica would sit by the tank, touching the glass, whispering apologies. Cairo would hover in the water, one dark eye fixed on her, unblinking. As the years passed, Cairo grew to his full size, over 6 tons of muscle and instinct. He was magnificent, but there was a heaviness in him Jusica couldn't name. He obeyed her commands, but there were moments when his movements were slower, his gaze colder. Then came the night that changed everything. The circus was in a grand city and the stands were full. Lights flashed, music boomed, cameras rolled. Jusica dove into the water for their finale, a routine they had performed hundreds of times. She swam toward Cairo, who was supposed to lift her onto his back for a final spin, but instead Cairo circled her slowly. The crowd thought it was part of the act. Jusica, smiling for the audience, reached out to signal him. In a blur, Cairo lunged, gripping her midsection in his massive jaws. The smile vanished. The water exploded into red. Screams filled the arena. Trainers rushed in, banging poles, blowing whistles. But Cairo didn't let go. He shook Jusica once, twice, and she was still. Only then did he release her, letting her body drift downward in the tank. The show was over. The news spread like wildfire. Beloved trainer killed by her orca during live show. The world debated, was it a tragic accident, or had Cairo, after years of captivity, acted on something deeper, darker? Some said it was hunger. Others claimed orcas don't attack humans in the wild, so this must have been born of confinement, stress, and betrayal. The circus shut down. Cairo was transferred to another marine park, far away. But in the town where Jusica grew up, the whispers never stopped. They remembered the little girl who had once saved a stranded calf, who had fed it, loved it, and turned it into a spectacle. And they remembered the look in Cairo's eye, the same one from the night before the tragedy, as if he had been waiting for the ocean to return him to himself. In the end, Perhaps it wasn't murder or malice. Perhaps it was the wild, reminding the world that the sea's creatures cannot truly belong to us, no matter how much we love them. The waves still crash on Usica's old shore, and sometimes fishermen claim they see a black fin far out in the mist. Whether it's Cairo or another, no one knows. But they say if you listen closely, you can hear the low, mournful song of an orca echoing beneath the water. Thank you for watching. Like, share, comment, and subscribe the channel Path to Power. Press bell icon to Sadie Tund with us.